voters as well. That's according to a new poll from USA Today. The online survey shows Secretary Clinton beating Trump 56 to 20% among voters under 35, 56 to 20. It also shows Clinton beating him by a bigger margin among millennials who supported Bernie Sanders. Look at those numbers. The poll has them favoring Hillary Clinton 72 to 11%. It is just the latest in a series of recent polls showing the Democratic nominee leading her Republican rival by big numbers. But the developer of a question and answer smartphone app says those surveys are all wrong. He tells USA Today that his app poses questions to an average 100,000 users a day and that his data suggests Trump will win in November. According to the newspaper, the app asks users, and I quote, "New polls suggest Trump is getting crushed by Clinton. Do they reflect how you're going to vote?" USA Today reports 64% of users said they would vote for Trump, compared to just 36% for Hillary Clinton. The developer explained the differences in the results by telling the newspaper, "We're not a poll, we're a conversation, and 100% anonymous. People feel comfortable answering questions without fear of being bullied or being called a racist." He goes on, "People can express themselves safely, and you get a pure answer." Heidi Przybyla is a senior political reporter for USA Today. Well, if he's right, everybody on earth is wrong.
This would be unprecedented that some kind of a social media tool would be more predictive than a poll. That said, Shep, what he's speaking to in terms of the polling dissimilarities has a name. It's called the social desirability component, and it's a well-known polling phenomenon that sometimes when people have what they consider more anonymity, even in polling, people don't completely trust that their answers are anonymous. They might be a little bit more honest. That said, in my experience as a reporter, I don't think that social desirability component, even if it is present there, can account for the gaping difference that you see between this one app prediction and the broader wealth of polls that we've seen.
I went back to the polls from the primaries and compared what we were hearing in the days before they voted in primaries, and then what we were seeing in exit polling in primaries to see if there was any indication that Donald Trump had been outperforming the polls, and there's no evidence of that I can find in my reporting.
No, I mean, there was some irregularities or some polls that weren't as predictive. For example, in Iowa, when it was much closer between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. But for the most part, the polls were pretty accurate in the primary. We're dealing with modern technology problems with cell phone usage, etc. But still, the polls are pretty uniform in terms of the major national respected polls that are not online and that are not just like click here type of polls where you don't even know if people are being double counted.
I wonder, were you able to catch the Donald Trump speech today, and if you thought that was the ever advertised and long desired pivot that the right had been wanting, that the establishment had wanted?
I caught a little bit in your green room as I was being made up here, and it did strike me that he had a very more presidential sounding tone. I didn't hear, correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't hear any kind of like off the cuff remarks that stole the headline from what was supposed to be the message of the day. The question, as it has been for months now, Shep, is does he read from a teleprompter one day and then does he make a comment the following day that kind of takes away or steps on that message? But he did say some of the things during the primary that I thought were very powerful in terms of speaking truth on the disaster that was the Iraq War and the complicity of frankly both parties and many members of Congress. Hillary Clinton was senators at the time, voted for that intervention, and keeping on message on also her role in pushing for the intervention in Libya as well, which helped create a vacuum for ISIS. Those are the things that the party that Reince Priebus has wanted him to stay on message about from the beginning. Question is, will he do it? Will he stay on message? And is it too late?
Heidi Przybyla, nice to see you again. Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Should Donald Trump end up losing, his unorthodox campaign could cost Republicans more than the White House. It could cost them control of the Senate as well. So what do you do to stop that? That's next.